Hey everyone, welcome back. The Nazca mummies continue to perplex researchers with their combination of well-preserved remains, advanced mummification techniques, and peculiar anatomical features. But to truly appreciate the gravity of this discovery, we must first step back and consider the full spectrum of known mummification practices across the globe. This will allow us to determine exactly why the Nazca mummies stand out so remarkably. One of the most renowned examples of mummification comes from ancient Egypt. For thousands of years, the Egyptians practiced elaborate rituals aimed at preserving the body after death, driven by their belief in an afterlife. The process often began with the removal of internal organs, including the brain, lungs, liver, stomach, and intestines. These organs were then placed in separate containers, sometimes with natron salt, which acts as a desiccant. The heart was often left in place as it was associated with the soul and vital to the individual's existence. The body was then washed and treated with natron salts, which helped to dehydrate the corpse and prevent decay. After a period of about 40 days, the body would be wrapped in layers of linen, sometimes with amulets or other protective items placed around the body. This entire process was designed to keep the body intact and ready for the journey to the afterlife. The dry desert climate of Egypt aided in the preservation of these mummies, but the technique itself was crucial in creating these remarkably enduring remains. Even with these sophisticated methods, though, Egyptian mummies don't hold up perfectly over time. Some of the challenges include shrinkage and hardening of the tissues, which can distort the shape of the body. Over time, bones can shift out of alignment due to the strain of being tightly wrapped, leading to an imperfect presentation of the skeletal structure. And despite the natron salt treatment, some degree of tissue degradation and loss is inevitable, meaning the best preserved Egyptian mummies still have missing flesh gaps in their skeletal structure, and there is always a limit to how much the linen wrappings can conceal. Fingertips and other small features are especially vulnerable to loss, making it rare to see perfect preservation from the fingertips to the top of the skull. In contrast to Egyptian mummification, the Chinchorro people of northern Chile and southern Peru began intentional mummification as early as 5000 BCE, long before the Egyptians developed their practices. The Chinchorro people had a complex understanding of human anatomy and undertook a more invasive process. The mummy, as the name suggests, was a deliberate removal of internal organs. In some cases, the skin was also removed and replaced with a new covering made of materials like clay, fibers, or animal skins. The remains were then reconstructed using sticks or other materials to make them more lifelike. The Chinchorro people's mummification techniques were more akin to a reconstruction process than the simple encasement used for Egyptian mummies. While Chinchorro mummies are incredibly preserved and display a sophisticated understanding of human anatomy, they also demonstrate a less coherent physical structure than the Nazca mummies. The process of removing and replacing organs and skin inevitably introduces breaks and misalignments within the skeletal system, which can be filled in over time, but never seem to be entirely eliminated. While these two examples showcase two very different approaches to preservation, neither of them accounts for the characteristics of the Nazca mummies. The Nazca mummies show an unbroken skeletal fluency, complete with embedded fingernails and functional joints, even in the hands. The three-fingered hands, elongated skulls, and cranial anomalies are absent from the Egyptian record. While Egypt demonstrates what humans can achieve with advanced mummification, it does not account for the biological perfection seen in these Peruvian specimens. So where do the Nazca mummies fit into this picture? To put it simply, they don't quite fit anywhere. The Nazca mummies exhibit no signs of missing tissue, misalignment, or other degradations typically associated with hundreds or thousands of years of decomposition. Another intriguing aspect of the Nazca mummies is the presence of metal implants found within the bodies. At least 240 of the mummies examined by researcher Javier C. Natera have these implants. The implants are not surface decorations or external supports. Instead, they are embedded internally. The presence of these implants poses several questions. Were they ceremonial markers? Are they preservation aids, tools of modification, or are they something else entirely? The use of metal implants in ancient cultures is not unheard of. For example, the Inca people had a tradition of inserting small gold or silver ornaments through the bridge of the nose as a form of adornment. However, such practices were generally limited to aesthetics or rituals. There are no known examples of ancient cultures in South America or elsewhere routinely inserting metal objects into the body for preservation purposes. Furthermore, the idea of inserting metal into a body post-mortem goes against the traditional aim of mummification, which was to keep the body intact and recognizable. Metal implants would more likely have been added during a ritualistic procedure prior to mummification to mark a status, commemorate a person, or serve as a connection to the afterlife. But these implants are not superficial. They are embedded deeply within the body, and their location, number, and composition remain a mystery. These factors set the Nazca mummies apart from any other known mummified remains. Comparative studies with known mummies allow us to isolate and identify the unique characteristics of the Nazca mummies. We can compare the state of preservation, the techniques used, the materials employed, and any unusual anatomical features. This kind of analysis helps establish how the Nazca mummies are both similar to and different from other mummies. It allows us to draw conclusions about possible methods used for their preservation or modification, shedding light on the beliefs, technologies, or environments that might have influenced their creation. By situating the Nazca mummies within the broader context of human preservation, we can gain a deeper understanding of their origins. It is important to note that the comparisons do not aim to diminish the uniqueness of the Nazca mummies, but rather to enrich our understanding of their origins. Each culture has its own distinct traditions and innovations. Comparing the Nazca mummies with other examples allows us to appreciate the complexity and diversity of mummification practices worldwide. Furthermore, studying the similarities and differences between mummies provides insights into the motivations behind preservation practices. Whether driven by religious beliefs, cultural norms, or scientific curiosity, each case reflects a unique perspective on death, the afterlife, and the human condition. Studying the Nazca mummies in the context of global mummification trends allows researchers to test hypotheses about their authenticity and origin. For example, if the mummies are indeed genuine, they should conform to the patterns expected based on their supposed age and geographical location. If they are modern forgeries, they should exhibit characteristics consistent with recent preservation techniques. By testing the mummies against established patterns and expectations, researchers can gather evidence to support or refute various hypotheses about their authenticity and origin. This approach enables a more objective and data-driven assessment of the available evidence. The Nazca mummies, with their remarkable condition and intriguing features, offer a compelling subject for scientific inquiry. By engaging in interdisciplinary research, embracing diverse perspectives, and remaining open to unexpected findings, the scientific community can unravel the mysteries surrounding these enigmatic remains. And in doing so, shed light on a previously unknown chapter in human history. Finally, let's talk about the three-fingered hands. Three-fingered hands on primates are extremely rare and typically associated with certain genetic mutations that lead to severe developmental abnormalities. Given that the Nazca mummies display this trait consistently across multiple individuals, it suggests that it may be a biological norm rather than an anomaly. However, this concept challenges our understanding of human anatomy and evolution. To reconcile this observation with current biological knowledge, it would require revising our understanding of primate hand development and evolution. Further genetic and anthropological studies would be necessary to explore the implications of such a finding and its broader significance for understanding human evolution. As with other aspects of the Nazca mummies, the presence of three-fingered hands sets them apart from all other known mummification cases. Thank you all so much for watching and subscribing. Have a great day.